Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Into the twilight, get ready, baby.
This is
Our new intro.
Our new intro. Can somebody? Oh my god! I'm gonna ask Eli to like turn that into just like a fucking EDM hit, and just like repeat it over and over again. Boost it up.
Just make sure that is right before the bass drops.
Cause like, listen, Lee Newton telling the listeners, "Into the twilight, get ready, baby." That's like the whole show. That's it.
The whole thing.
We could play that for an hour over and over, and that would be it.
I want her to be our Clint, like saying that before we come out on stage for our
right,
live
yeah,
shows.
introducing us, yeah. Yep.
Just paying Lee Newton to say that one line
yeah.
before we come out for live shows.
Lee, would you accept millions of dollars? I will give you anything.
Oh my god, okay, that reminds me. So, everyone, shut up.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you knew this, but I was in New York this past weekend.
Yeah.
I'm now
Allie's a
cultured.
big city girl now, so...
First of all, I live in Seattle, so, yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, New York's
it's the Pacific
fucking...
Northwest. It doesn't really count. There's still, like, aliens and a weird ambiance that really covers the whole thing.
That's true. Yeah, there's, mountains here, so...
Yeah, so automatically.
It's a little bit weirder. A little bit more spooky. I went to go see a couple of Broadway shows, and at the end, they were like, we're gonna do our spiel for Broadway Cares.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool, love it. When they were doing that, after the prom, they were like, if you donate $5 or more, you get this pride flag, and also a bag of Cheetos! And the whole cast was like, wah, wah, wah! And I was like, yo... I could really fuck with a bag of Cheetos right now.
It worked. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I was just like, yo, that's so good. That's such
it's a good idea. That's how you get people to donate for things. Because people will be like, yeah, I would love to, donate to charity. But, they often don't. Or, when they're given opportunities, they have excuses. But if you're like, hey, if you donate, we'll just, toss in a bag of Cheetos. That's it.
And then, after the show, I went down to the bathroom. When I came back up, I, saw quite a few people carrying, their little pride flags. And these, you buy these, the bags of Cheetos. And they're, the 25-cent bags, because you get them in those huge packs. And I was like, fuck yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
So, welcome to Into the Big City.
Ooh.
Where everything is encrypted.
Yep.
And also smells just a little like piss.
Just a little.
Just a little.
It keeps you humble,
God bless.
It's something to distract you from the raising rent costs.
God.
Am I right, ladies?
Am I right? Cody, how the hell are you doing?
I'm alright. I'm just living my truth. I don't really have anything specific to bring to the space right now, but I'm just here in this moment.
How's that supermassive black hole treating you?
The supermassive black hole is terrifying. This is relevant actually. We had two astrophysicists on the show that I work at today.
Alright.
To talk about the fucking black hole, because one of them fucking helped make the telescope that took the picture, and it was all this crazy stuff. And they were basically telling us that black holes are terrifying, which I already knew, but I, was not a big fan of having that regurgitated to me again with all of this also orchestrated with this beautiful picture that we've seen.
Yeah.
And then one of them used the words, like, what happens to someone, like, in a black hole, which, like, we don't know, but, like, we can assume. And one of them said the word spaghettization or spaghettify, and it made me want to quite literally jump out of my skin and not be a person anymore.
I don't want to know.
Like, imagine your limbs just like noodles and totally shredding. Like, I hate it. Nope.
Oh my god.
No, I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah. That's gonna be a hard pass.
A hard pass. It's the hardest pass.
It's been a while since I was in a science class. And by a while, I mean, I took
400 years.
Yeah, and by that I mean I was required to take one science class in my undergrad, and I bitched and moaned about it. So I took a pharmacy class. Like, I paid about $500 for that class to learn essentially that non-branded Tylenol is essentially the same as Tylenol. So you're fucking welcome.
Thanks, academia.
So, like, the last time I took an actual science class was in high school. I don't know anything about anything. Anyways, so...
How was your trip to kick Joe Goldberg's ass? Did you do it?
Okay, so I wanted to wait until the pod to talk about this. So I went to New York, first and foremost, to find Joe Goldberg and to vanquish the evil.
Just fucking rip him a new one.
Because he's bad at doing murder. He's so bad at doing murder that he has a TV show about it. And, like, honestly, who does that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, come on. Have some respect for yourself.
So, I went to all the places. I did all the things. And then I found out that it was a TV show. And that it was all fake.
I'm sorry that it's taken you this long of us talking about it for you to realize that.
I just thought that when I clicked out of Netflix that I was stopping time.
Because I'm a wizard.
Because I have powers. And
yeah.
But I went to New York anyway, and I saw Broadway things. Okay, here's some things. So I went to go see Network, which is a play. Mm-hmm. For all of you uncultured swines.
Oh my god.
And fucking Tatiana, our beautiful Tatiana from the cloning show or whatever that she's in, was there. And in the play. It was beautiful and perfect. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about with that is right after the show, when they were doing the thing with Broadway Cares, is that she was out there with all the buckets. Like, they basically treated her like she was fucking one of the run-of-the-mill casts, and not this, like, fucking Emmy-winning major, like, Tatiana Maslany major people.
Yeah.
Anyways, Bryan Cranston was in it. He was good, but I was focused on Tatiana Maslany because she's, like, great and cool, and I, like, rubbed shoulders with her as I was leaving. I was like, excuse me, oh god. Anyways, I don't know, I did all the touristy things, saw the prom, died inside, and also outside of it, and saw Muse, and didn't know most of the songs, but, like, everyone else there loved it. They played Supermassive Black Hole. I was at full attention.
Yeah.
Because Twilight. I don't know, it was good. I finally understand everyone's complaints about the MTA. And how they hate disabled people.
Yep. Yep.
And I saw Subway Rats. And that was a thing.
Congratulations.
So I feel... Oh! Last thing, and then we'll move on. I did go and see a comedy show with John Mulaney and Pete Davidson.
Oh, wow.
And it was very nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
It was in Staten Island, so it was, like, in Pete Davidson's hometown. He, like, fucking drove there. It was a lot. Because it seemed like John Mulaney was testing out new material, so he had this thing where as soon as you got into the main theater, you couldn't have your phone on, like, before the show and during the show. And they, like, wouldn't give you any warning. They'll just, like, kick you out.
Damn.
I know.
That's
it was,
intense.
like, super strict. And it was super strict. They, like, taped it onto all the chairs. It was, like, everywhere. So, when we get there, we're waiting, and there's nothing to do, so I was like, fuck, I should have brought cards. But it was really good. I'd never seen Pete Davidson do stand-up before, other than just, like, on SNL. And he fully admitted to him and his bodyguard taking mushrooms, and so his set was, like, a lot. And he kept saying gurney and then laughing about how funny the word gurney is when you say it out loud.
Yeah.
And then John Mulaney was great. Everyone jokes about how much he talks about his wife. That did not change during the set. He just kept saying his wife over and over again.
Yes.
And overall, it was a great trip.
Yeah, it's great.
Would recommend at least going once.
Yeah. Go to Staten Island.
Yeah, well, go to New York. For sure. Yeah. So, good things. Did not find Joe Goldberg, but we'll keep looking. Okay. Have relevant current events.
Yes.
First and foremost is our past news.
Robert Pattinson Watch 2019.
Yes. Would you like to share the link that you put on our Twitter?
Yes. It's an interview from King of Letterboxd, David Ehrlich.
Yes.
Also known as the head film critic at IndieWire.
Yes.
He interviewed our boy, Robert Pattinson,
Woo,
about
woo,
High
woo.
Life, which we've been talking about for a little bit now.
Yeah.
It's a very good interview. Like, it's very thorough, and it really goes through, like, his whole kind of career and, like,
It's
his
meaty.
process. It's, like, really meaty and great. But the best part about it is the fact that Robert Pattinson vapes, y'all.
He was blowing and ripping some meaty cotton throughout
Some
this whole thing.
serious cotton, my dude. The best line in this piece is, he snuck a drag from his vape pen with ninja-like precision, hiding the
Oh my
device
God.
behind the arm of his coat.
Oh.
And then he
man.
just goes into a quote about him talking about acting with his shirt off, which is great. It's just the duality is so very good. Our pets vapes!
And
Our
it doesn't
pets
surprise
vapes.
me.
Our pets vapes. No, but I like that it's confirmed, you know?
Yes, the confirmation is what I really needed.
Yeah.
It's so important to me. Thank you, David,
Thank
for
you. Wow.
confirming what we all knew but needed nonetheless. There's so much in here that we could spend a whole episode digging through this. We're not going to.
Yeah.
You can do that on your own time. But
Yeah.
I think what I've realized is, one, everyone that has seen this movie so far has loved it,
Yes.
which makes me very excited to see it. And two, our pets vapes. And that's
Hell. Yeah, baby.
and I think one thing that I need to make clear is obviously I support vaping ironically.
I support vaping as a bit.
Yes. But nonetheless, I do find that I do think I knew that our Pat smoked before.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the idea of him just blowing some cotton just really does something for the soul, I think.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, IndieWire. I appreciate it.
Woo!
The next piece of news that we have comes from Pride, which is Yawn Break. This is not about the content of this. This is
This
just
is the new segment we have on the show called Yawn Break.
Yawn Break. This piece comes from Raffi Ermac,
Ooh.
and it is about K-Stu, Laura Dern, and Courtney Love
Ugh.
starring in the new wild story of J.T. Leroy.
Oh, this was made for me. There's no other explanation.
Yeah,
This was made for me specifically and nobody else.
From the screen cap at the top of this, it's a lot. Right off the bat.
Fucking Keisu is wearing a wig and sunglasses that make her look straight up of the dirt. If you saw that movie on Netflix, I hope you didn't. It's not good. But yeah, there's some stuff happening here.
It is rough.
Yeah.
The actual movie poster looks very nice.
It's good, yeah. And if you're, 12 and don't know the story of J.T. Leroy, it was basically this, fucking hoodwink in the literary publishing world, where this, cisgender woman wrote under a pen name of J.T. Leroy, and then her book got really famous, and she basically, to keep this fame and this, mystery, had someone pretend to be her and also be, a trans guy who wrote the book. It was, so much going on, but, everyone believed it. It was, fully, J.T. Leroy was, this huge thing, and people were, totally whatever, and it was, a total hoodwink when it got figured out that it was all a hoax.
It feels like forever ago.
Yes. Yeah.
To me. And as it's mentioned in this Pride piece, there was a documentary that came out 3 years ago. This movie comes out in theaters as well as on demand and digital in just a couple weeks, actually, on April 26th.
Yeah.
And it looks promising.
Yeah.
I just watched the trailer before this, and color me intrigued.
Hey.
It seems like the wigs from this clip are intentionally bad, and so I have some high hopes. Alright. We have a Patreon question.
Ooh!
Kelly Elliott asks, in what ways are you, 50 Shades of Grey, and Twilight all just variations of Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, God. Well, they're all tales all this time, am I right? Am I
Jesus
right?
Christ.
Am I right?
This feels like one of those roll the dice memes.
Yeah, it's like a generator. It's fucking whatever. Yeah. That's how all of my comedy is produced. Just by a series of die.
I guess you could say that they have some similarities in that the women protagonists have all been done dirty.
Yeah. I think the connection is much clearer in Twilight and 50 Shades, where you have this, one very kind of dominant dude and this one very submissive woman. And in Twilight, it's a little bit more true to form when the dude is, of supernatural or scary, almost, quality. But that also happens in 50 Shades, too, with Christian, to an extent. But in real life, you, I think, has, I guess, a similar dynamic of the characters, but a less intense version of it, a more digestible version of it.
Yeah. There's a lot of books.
Yeah, there's a lot of books, and as we find out in this episode, Joe will absolutely lock her in a clock tower and keep her prisoner. So maybe this is gonna just be a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Here's what I will say that they all have in common.
What?
The side characters, all more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's what I got. That's what I'm bringing to the table.
Hell yeah.
And that's it. But I do like that. I'm sure there is a think piece about it somewhere.
Yeah.
I have neither the energy nor... Yeah, actually just not the energy to write it. I see in our podcast notes that you have made one of my meh faces quite large here.
Yeah.
So today is our penultimate episode on You, season 1, which means I should probably think about buying that book at some point. So this episode, episode 9, is titled Candace. I wonder why.
It's almost like she will play a role.
Huh. If you're wondering where this sideways meh face comes from, it's at the start of this episode when we realize that Joe and Beck are back together. And it's just... yikes. If I remember correctly, last episode was where Karen and Joe ended things.
Yeah.
And then Joe went and, like, tried to seemingly harmlessly toss, like, a pebble at Beck's window and then just, like,
fucked her shit up.
smashed the window.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're back in their little honeymoon phase, everything's fine or whatever. Except it's not, because Joe's getting some really bad nightmares, guys.
Yeah, and, like, listen, I get it. I have night terrors. But it doesn't seem like his are... Well, I mean, he's having them because of a trauma, but, like, a trauma he caused, which, yikes. And so he's just, like, waking up screaming because of Candace.
Yeah.
Who, at this point, the show has not said, but has severely hinted that, like, he's killed her.
Yeah.
And so, during their breakfast, Beck's like, hey, babe, who's Candace?
Yeah.
Why are you talking about her? And he's like, oh, yeah, no big deal, babe. You know Candace. We talked about her before. Things just went bad. I'm still not ready to talk about her yet.
Yeah.
And then it seems like, from this, that Beck is going to go on, like, an Ocean's 11, Nancy Drew kind of adventure.
Yeah, she's like, fuck this, I gotta track this lady, gotta see what's up, because this shit is not checking out.
Which makes sense, because, like, she sort of works at Mooney's, but not really.
Right.
She sort of has an MFA, but, like, not
really.
So
she's
what
sort
the
of
hell
a writer,
else?
but, like, she doesn't really write, so...
Yeah, what the hell else is she gonna do with her time?
Yeah.
So she seems to be, like, searching for Candace, aka she goes on Instagram.
Yeah.
While Joe is still going to this therapist, and that just seems weird to me at this point, but whatever. And I think what I had assumed, I had given the show, like, one last hope. From what we had seen about Candace, I was like, alright, I know that we've seen a little bit of her, but maybe she has, like, some depth to her.
Right.
And that was giving the show way too much credit.
Yeah.
Because
it was admirable, like, it was hopeful, and I appreciate that.
It was quite hopeful. Because she is just, like, a complete stereotype, I guess. Her name, the band she's in, which I can't remember the name of the band now.
No, I don't remember either.
But it was some sort of, like, literary reference, I think. And it's just this idea of, like, a promiscuous band, like a promiscuous singer, band member. It's just like, okay.
But they're smart, because they read books, so...
Right. Yeah. It's just, alright. I'm over this show.
Yeah.
We find out, like, a little bit more about her, but then I remember that scene before where Joe was talking about, like, Elijah, and she's like, oh, it's just my brother. And then she had, like, flipped her phone over. But we find out that Elijah's, was he a music producer? I think it was.
Yes.
And so, like, obviously they're doing it.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, Joe confirms it because she is, like, supposed to go in and, like, play, but she is doing it with him in, like, a car.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Rawr, no."
He's
I'm a
RAR
score-
XD.
Yes, exactly.
Elijah sucks so bad.
He's the worst.
Like, Beck has a confrontation with him, or Joe has a confrontation with him, and it's like, hey, dude, what's going on? And he's just like, fucking bitches, am I right? It's like, whoa, what? What is happening? This like, person you're sleeping with, and he's like, fucking, am I right? Women,
You are just an NPC, but you are an awful person. So.
Yeah, yes.
Goddamn. Because, yeah, he goes to, like, this music producer, kind of, like, mixer,
Yeah.
to confront him, because he's a scorned man, and his feeling was hurt. His one feeling. And what... Okay, so we know that Joe has impulse issues, and, like, the emotional range of, like, a teaspoon. So,
Yeah.
but... his solution to all of this at a party in front of so many people is just to fucking push this dude off a building.
Yeah,
Sure.
you know, just like a totally cool and rational thing to do in that moment. Wouldn't
Right.
you agree?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely can't backfire.
Yeah, no, I see 0 negative outcomes. All
Yeah.
signs point to yes.
I just don't understand what could possibly go wrong there.
No.
The one thing I forgot to mention earlier, but, like, when Candace and Joe were, like, in their flirting phase or whatever,
Yeah.
he gave her a copy of Wuthering Heights,
Yeah.
which was a little on the nose. Joseph?
Hey, Joe.
Joseph?
I miss Poochie.
Me too. I tried to find so many, like, every place that we went to in New York that had, like, tourist tchotchkes, I tried to find things that had names on them.
Yeah.
I swear to God, every place, the only things they had were Isabella
Uh-huh.
and Jacob and Jacob and Joseph. And they didn't
Yeah.
have any Annas, they didn't have any Edwards. They, like, those are the only names they had. And I was like, alright, it's an interesting throuple you've created.
Those are the
So
only
what-
names.
Those are actually the only 3 names that they ever had. They only ever offered. And I was so pissed by it too, because Chris, like, would see me spending so much time there, and he was like, what do you... He was like, oh, okay. I see what you're doing. And he'd point his name, and he's like, see, look at mine. And then he'd, like, try to find mine, and it was always Alexandra.
Yeah.
And I was like, God,
Yeah.
fuck!
Yeah. Fucking Chris and his Chris name privilege.
I know.
The
like,
the
fuck
name
it.
that will be on every customizable thing forever.
I know. I was
Every
like,
little
you're so...
doodad and keychain.
Oh, it's like, you're so annoying. Get out of here.
Fucking stab.
I know, and that's what was weird, was they would have, like, Chris and Christopher, but they didn't have Christian. I was like, what is... You know what, actually, it's probably for the best.
Oh my god, what if his name was Chris Gray?
Oh, Anna. Anastasia Steele. You can call me Chris. Chris Gray.
My name's Chris Gray and I fuck hard.
My name is Chris Gray, and I like to use ropes while I come.
I think Chris Gray drinks Monster and he loves fucking Super Smash Brothers.
Hi, now you're just describing my boyfriend, and that's a little on the nose.
But also, I don't know, what does Christian Grey do? Run a business, I guess.
Yeah.
He also does that, but it's like a cool weed business.
So you're describing fucking what's the first dude that Joe killed?
Oh, Benji.
I almost called him Billy Goat. What the fuck?
Yeah, everyone's favorite side character from you, Billy Goat. You remember Billy Goat? He had the watches and the soda company.
Oh,
you remember?
God.
Billy.
What up? My name is Chris Gray, and I like to fuck with overalls on. And
Oh
also
my
drink Mountain Dew Code Red.
Oh, God.
I'm still... Oh, God, okay. Okay, so the reason why I was talking about Wuthering Heights was... there's a part where... I think this is, like, after he kills Candace, which, like, whoops, spoiler. But, like, y'all aren't surprised.
Yeah, come on. You saw this coming.
They return back to this, like, recurring thing that they've been doing throughout this whole show, where he's, like, destroying books. It's like, rawr, I have power.
It's a motif. Do you get it?
And it was just, like, so much. Because he, like, takes out the part where he dedicated the book to her and replaces it with another page. And it was
so
awful.
extra, yeah.
So, Beck is still trying to find out more about Candace. We see a lot of random people in this episode, including the one woman from, Peach's Party, who was like, hey, Joe, do you remember Candace? And he was like, who are you? And she was, like, super badass and cool in this episode. She's just, like, smoking a cigarette in the back of this building.
Yeah.
Doesn't give a fuck. And she ends up leading back to Candace's brother, who's in a mental facility. There's, like, a lot going on here.
There's so much.
Yep. And finally, Joe and Beck meet up after this long day. And they're like, hey, babe, what'd you do? Oh, what'd you do? And it's like, and Beck finally confronts him and is like, I don't know anything about your ex or your friends. And when I try to find out stuff about your ex, there's nothing to be found. She's nowhere.
She doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's a valid concern. Especially because he's said she's in Italy, which, like, he's finally like, I don't understand why you're saying this. All you have to understand is that she changed her name when she went to Italy. If you had just searched under that, you would find all this information about her. All of these Instagram accounts.
Right?
And so...
See? She changed her name, wanted to fucking live her life, whatever.
Yeah. And
now you're the crazy one. You're the stalker. You're the fucking, like, creepy person. Which,
and
like,
that's exactly what he does.
cool.
And it's... Ugh.
It's
so
gross.
gross.
It's like, motherfucker, you've been doing this shit the whole time. And Beck is only doing it because there is quite literally no other option because you're not talking to her about it and being honest. Right. And so this is her only choice. And now that she's doing that out of a need, now she's the one who's, like, the weird, creepy stalker, which is the same shit that happened with, like, walking around the block and, like, you know, whatever, when they weren't together. It's just like...
The other thing that he does, out of need now, because she's kind of, like, pushing him to, is he's like, fine, you want to see my family? Here's Mr. Mooney. And he takes Beck to see Mr. Mooney, who is, like, incapacitated because he's had a stroke. Mm-hmm. And to me, this seemed, like, wildly convenient. Same with Candace's brother.
Yeah.
That, like, they're both incapacitated to, like, different degrees. Mm-hmm. That they can't, like, provide alibis or, like, lack thereof, I guess, for him. And so that seemed, like, super sketchy to me.
Yeah.
So Beck meets Mr. Mooney and feels like soup's guilty. And finally, Joe, like, turns on Beck and is like, So now that I've made you feel super guilty, there is no Emma Fox. Dun dun dun. And she's like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. So they like do this like quick montage about like Beck and creepy
and John Stamos.
Smoking John Stamos. And so here's where I had about 17 questions.
Yeah.
We know Beck and John Stamos are having sex. I mean, fine, whatever. But like, was Beck still seeing him for therapy is my question.
I can't believe she was.
Because
I feel like, I mean, yeah.
At that point, was she like, I understand that he's okay, like, breaching this boundary.
Right.
Do I still want to be like, so now that I've had your dick inside me, let's talk about my daddy issues.
Right.
Like, what? What are you keeping up the bit for at this point?
I think Beck was there fully to just be like, listen, I just want to have sex with you. I feel like there might have been a conversation where John Stamos was like, oh, I mean, we can still do our sessions. Because he is that kind of therapist. He's just like, fucking, let's just smoke a doobie together and fuck each other and then talk about your familial trauma. Where
Honestly.
Beck's just like, I'm just trying to get laid. Please don't also try to get into my head. Please. Thank you.
True. And the second thing that was a focus is like, this is objectively the more interesting part. Why the hell are we not getting more screen time about this?
Dude, it was like so shoved under the rug. It was meant to be, it was like drawn out to be such a big fucking thing, right? That like Joe was super paranoid about it and he was like really aggressive and there was like whole confrontation about it and all this shit. And like all this build up for it. And then when we finally realize it's actually been happening this whole time, it's like 30 fucking seconds of like pictures of them and texts and whatever and like clips of them having sex. Like that's it. It's like, this would have been a fucking substantial arc if this were actually written out as one of them. You know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't make any sense to build it up like that and to make it seem like a super tense part of their relationship or factor of the relationship when you just fucking like with it when you get to the fucking conclusion, the huge climax of it.
It definitely felt like when Joe was having sex with Beck for the first time, and he just fucking blows a load.
Yeah.
Like, 2
That's
seconds
what
in.
the showrunner did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which, yikes on their part, you know what I mean?
Sorry.
Like, Beck said it was cool, but, like, it wasn't cool. You know what I mean?
Cool. It's not cool.
So, this is the part in the episode where it's very clear that Beck is in survival mode with her abuser because she is telling him being Joe, that she loves him, right?
Yeah.
As a method of like, I need to do something drastic to calm him down.
Right, like some sort of damage control. Yeah.
Right. And it like breaks my heart because you can tell that like she does not mean it. She does not feel it. This is meant as like, I do this or I die kind of thing. Which fucking sucks. But in the moment, it works. And, like, Joe is sated for the moment to, like, chill. Seemingly, they, like, have sex. Like, the night ends. And in the morning... Oh God! In the morning, Joe goes to get breakfast. Okay. So this is the part where Beck opens the door and fucking finds Paco because Paco's always outside on the steps. And is like, because, okay, I don't remember if we talked about this last episode, but like, Paco and Joe are not on speaking terms.
No, they're not cool because fucking Joe fucked up.
Yes. You want to talk about why?
Well, we kind of talked about it last episode, but, like, this whole relationship with Paco's mom or whatever, and then Joe was supposed to be taking care of him and watching him or whatever, and then he, like, totally dips because he's fucking sleeping with Beck all the time.
Right.
And he gets fucked over.
Fucking Joe.
And then fucking Ron comes back and their whole lives are shitty again, and it's all fucking Joe's fault because he's the fucking worst and doesn't care about other people.
Right. So, they're not on speaking terms, but Paco will talk to Beck. So, Paco says, like, I don't remember what this is for. Oh, maybe he's talking about stuff that he hides in the bathroom tile.
Mm-hmm.
But he basically tells Beck, yawn, break, that there's a bathroom tile up in the ceiling, I think it's above the toilet, that you can hide stuff in. And of course, Beck is on this, like, Ocean's 11 fucking Nancy Drew kick. She's like, interesting. I'll be right back, Paco. And fucking Joe, because he's bad at murder, leaves all of his, like, murder souvenirs in that bathroom ceiling tile. And it is so gross.
It's
It's this, like, black, what I would almost describe as, like, a cigar box.
Yeah.
And everything's in there. Like, panties,
Yeah.
phones.
I think, like, we were under the assumption in the beginning that it was just, like, oh, the only thing he's, like, really hiding is Beck's phone, right? Because that's, like, a huge thing in the
Right.
relationship. And, like, all this other shit that, like, he's had of hers has just been, like, shoved under fucking various cushions or whatever. But he, like, brings in this giant box that's full of just, like, everything.
Yeah, like, I think
Her journal and, like, a
fucking
tampon.
Benji's teeth.
Yeah,
God.
Benji's phone's in there.
All these, like, weird things from his shitty murders. And
Yeah.
so, of course, she's, like, I think she's sitting on the toilet,
Yeah.
when she's looking through this stuff. And it's, like, the one time she doesn't bring her phone into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And so Joe gets back, and she's like, just peeing. And so, of course, she's, like, in a panic as she tries to put this stuff back up there.
Right.
And the fucking jar of teeth falls. Oh, God. And it just goes everywhere.
Joe,
and-
why do you have this?
And it's awful.
Why are you like this?
And so, of course, she's trying to, like, clean it up and stuff. And he's like, how dare my woman take time in the bathroom? Women never poop. I don't
I
understand.
have pancakes ready.
Anyways, so she's, like, trying to, like, leave the room and stuff. And obviously it doesn't work because the next scene is her in the fucking, like, book cage, basically.
The glass cage of emotion.
Yeah, the, like, book dungeon, basically. And it's just, like, all I could think about in this moment is, I think the last time that we checked in on Beck, she was still on, like, a social media hiatus or whatever.
Yeah.
So, is anyone even going to notice?
God.
I'm so, like, oh God, okay. And that's, like, yikes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's where this fucking episode has the audacity to end. God. I can't believe it saves for the last 2 episodes to get, like, jam-packed. That's disrespectful.
Yeah, it is. That was, like, dense.
Yeah. So, next week is the last episode from the first season. Episode 10.
Ow, ow.
What do we want to do to thank our patrons this week?
Ooh, excellent question.
Thank you.
Do we want to do titles of the episodes of You in this season?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very smart.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Okay. Why don't you start?
Let's do it. Shout out to Aaron Salinger, a $10 sponsor, who's also gonna be the last nice guy in New York.
Ugh. I mean, Aaron, you're great. Sorry.
No,
that name of
yeah.
that.
Aaron is the last nice guy in New York. Joe can suck a dick.
Yes. Yes, I agree. All right. Shout out to Alex Blythe.
Ooh!
Alex, you are everything ship.
Yeah, baby.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Marie Mooney, who is the captain.
Oh yeah. Remember that one? God.
No, I don't want to.
We thought she was gonna fuck her dad.
We were all so fooled.
That would have been a more wild season, honestly.
That would have been a more interesting plot.
I agree. Alright, shout out to Taylor Brown Town Lautner.
Salute. Braver than the Marines.
And Taylor, you're gonna be You Got Me, babe.
Ooh. Shout out to Katie Weber. Ow, ow, ow. Who is living with the enemy.
Holy shit.
Whoa, the call's coming from inside the house.
Oh my god.
For Katie Weber.
Alright. Simon, holy shit, I'm yoked steel. Okay, well, I'm gonna give Simon his own woot woot.
Ooh, ow, 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 ow. I'm so sorry. Ow, ow, ow.
You sound like a small dog ready to fight.
That's how I feel about Simon Steele.
Alright, Simon, you're gonna be pilot, because that's how I feel about you. You are a pilot.
Hell yeah.
You
are guiding this ship. I mean, this plane.
Yes. Did you know that in New York, sirens never stop?
Yeah.
The city never sleeps and the sirens never stop.
I didn't know that sirens could stop until I moved out of New York.
That's real.
Yeah, hey.
Alright. This week, surprisingly, this fanfiction is brought to you by Taylor Brown Town Lautner. And
Ow!
It is written by the Live Ship Paragon. It is titled I Saw You.
Yes.
Summary goes, it was written on January 15th of this year. The summary goes a little bit like this. A lover of books and the ambiance of old bookstores, you find Mooney's after moving into the area and are thrilled to discover a helpful book clerk. Joe, on the other hand, has just discovered his new obsession. Chapter warnings. Some derogatory sexist comments.
Oh.
This is from Chapter 1, The Great Red Dragon. Alright. Yikes. Alright. You are in the F through K section now, and I can see your phone screen out of the corner of my eye. I'm expecting the phone to end up on Instagram with some inane hashtag like hashtag vintage or hashtag mood. What even is a fucking mood anyway, and why do all of you feel the need to express it to the world? Nobody just feels anymore. We have to announce it. But wait, you're not uploading it to any social media. You just set it as your lock and home screen. There's a long exhale as every muscle in your body relaxes, and maybe, just maybe, you feel comfortable here, like it's home. Then you look up to the books, putting your phone away in your back pocket, and now you're just begging me to follow that motion to your ass. Your jeans hug well, and I can see the faint outline of your underwear. Sensible cut, no dippling to suggest lace. You enjoy your comfort. That speaks to me. You're not trying too hard. Your hand reaches up, scanning along the row of books. Where will you stop? There's a brief moment where you hover over Thomas Harris, Red Dragon. You like your thrillers, huh? Maybe you fantasize about a sense of danger. Maybe that's what gets you off. Make a mental note, because you're probably the type of girl who likes the brooding and mysterious man, possibly a silent-ish protector. Then you pluck a Robin Hobb book out, a fantasist. You like your fantastical worlds and mythical creatures. Who hurt you so much that you have to escape into high fantasy books? I would make them pay. You deserve to be happy. Then again, you could just be whimsical. After all, what girl in this day and age just takes a photo for her own personal viewing? Excuse me. You turn to me. Big eyes. Such big, innocent eyes. Do you have the mad ship? Maybe I'm going mad myself, but I can't see it. End scene.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot. Anything with Joe at this point is a lot.
Yeah. No thanks. That's a no for me, dog.
That's a no for me.
Yes.
Okay, out of the OG American Idol cast, you're...
Oh God, how can I pick?
I'm definitely... Oh,
you're
God.
You're a Paula Abdul for sure.
I'm definitely Paula. Who am I kidding?
But you do have some flair of Randy Jackson for sure. There's a little.
See, I was gonna say, I definitely feel like I'm a Simon Moon.
Oh my God. No, okay, hold on. I'm a Simon Cowell's son. I'm a Paula Moon. I think I'm a Randy Rising.
Yeah, I feel that.
How about you?
I'm a Paula Sun.
Yeah.
I'm a...
It's riveting.
I am a Simon Moon.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm a Simon Rising.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's that double Scorpio.
Yeah.
Where are you? Hell yeah.
Let us know your OG American Idol charts below.
Please and thank you.
And as we say in Seattle, and get whipped.
Ooh.
This is an Earbud Media production. You can find us on Twitter at Earbud Media and listen to the rest of our shows. You can find this show on Twitter at Into the Twilight, as well as intothetwilight.show. You can send us an email at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com. You can also become a sponsor of the show or buy some merch at intothetwilight.bigcartel.com. Our art is done by Maddie Padilla, who you can find at YourGhostHost44 on Instagram, and our music is done by Eli Krause, you can find at Eli Sauerkraus and KrauseFilms.com. The intro and outro is by KB Smith, who you can find at KB__Smith on Twitter. You can find Allie on Twitter at Into Wild Places, and you can find me at Dyke Discourse. You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.